Who's your emergency contact? Who should we notify in case of death? Welcome to the USP, where I've spent the last 2+ decades of my life. I'm in Florence. Through the course of my bid, when I meet different people, different groups, when I become friends with an individual, it's only natural that we kick in and share stories and our history. Well, the history of the penal system, and that state, federal, county, I don't give a damn. It's bloody. There's a lot of bodies through the history of our criminal justice system, of the prison system. Whether it's through circumstances where when you first come into the penitentiary, especially if you're out of town, saying if you're from California, you're doing time in New York, or vice versa. If you're in New York on the East Coast somewhere doing time out in the West, you're going to be away from home. You're not going to be around people that you know. So, and you're probably most likely not affiliated with any of the gangs that's already established inside the penitentiary. So, through the circumstances of survival, of ensuring your own well-being, it's only natural that you and others like you that are out of town or from areas that are not part of a collective are going to come together and form a gang and form a group that, if it's made up by official dudes, by real men, that is going to become strong and become bigger. But once you become a group, you're a target. There's always going to be alliances established and opposition established. So on and so forth. So all these gangs in the penitentiary, they all have a history. At one time or another, they've crashed. There's not one gang inside the penitentiary that hasn't bumped heads. But, depending on the situation and how everything came about, determines if the situation can ever be resolved, determines if there can ever be a truce or not. When I first went in Lompoc, somebody asked me if Norteños walk the yard and walk California yards. There's Norteños in Dublin, but it's the FCI. As far as the USP in California is Victorville and Atwater. And as far as those two go, it's only Sereno yards. Norteños don't walk those yards. When I was in Lompoc, Topo, the Black Hand, he didn't have any issues with Norteños walking the yard. Like the NF couldn't be on the yard with them, but the Norteños could. And there was about anywhere between 10 to 15 any given time of Norteños that was in Lompoc with us. One of the dudes that was there was Gangster, Boxer, and Manny. But, you have a lot of different gangs. There's so many gangs that come out of Texas. You got the TS, you got the MAs, you got the Tango Blast, you got the Pistoleros, you got Borrachos. The list goes on and on. But all them dudes, like at one time or another, has bumped heads. And there's no difference with the story that I'm about to share with you. But like I said, depending on what transpired, what the issue was, determines how people can resolve it. Even though we clashed, people got stabbed, and somebody even might have got killed, sometimes people find a way to resolve it, and sometimes they don't. Well, the Texas MA, back in the days, and I don't know their complete history, but they bumped head with this other Mexican gang called the Pistoleros. And from all account of the situation, the Texas MA got the better end of it. But of course, over the course of the time, the leaders that were in place came together and decided to call a truce. Even almost like a, kind of like a half-ass alliance. Because when they come under the yard in Florence, you're either a gang member or you're running Solano. And if you're a gang member, you know, you have to be from the certain gangs, either TS, Texas MA, or Norteños, or be from a gang that are affiliated with them. Outside of that, if you're not from any of those, then you're running a Solano, meaning solo, running by yourself. So when I was there, that a pistolero came on the yard. Like I said, the Texas MA and the pistolero, they had history. They've been at war. And from the pistolero's side, they were on the losing end. But over time, they all came together and called it a truce. You know, they're not hanging out like buddy-buddy, but from all their understanding that everything is squashed. So when he comes on the line, the Texas MA let him walk. They didn't just let him walk, but he went to EA. Not only was he walking the compound, he became cellies with one of those Texas MA. And through the course of the next few months, you know, he was there, he chilled out, him and his cellie, I don't know his name because I don't want to say I'm affiliated with them, but my connection to them is through the personal relationship that I have with some of the individuals. And one of the main dudes that I was really close with was my homeboy Rudy Alonzo. So, you know, it's only natural through the course of the day or whatever that you have conversation and you pick up things, but especially when things happen. When things happen, the people around you that care about you, that you fuck with, are going to give you a heads up and let you know what's going on, you know. And they're not doing that to gossip. They're doing that out of respect to make sure that me or whoever else they're sharing the information with are able to do what we need to do to keep ourselves safe, you know. Because in any type of confrontation, it doesn't matter if it's just the white dudes, or if it's just black on black or Mexican on Mexican. There's always a potential risk that can spill over to something else. So for me, when I'm warned about a situation that something's about to happen and it's going to happen over here or it's going to happen over there, I make it a priority to not be in those places because I'm not interested in, one, being an eyewitness to anything, and two, I have too much stuff in my head already that I can never erase. So I don't really have that urge or the desire to add more to it, because, you know, there's just some things that you see that, regardless if you realize it or not, it's going to affect you. And if you compound those things over and over and over again, it's going to do one or two things to you. It's either going to make you crazy or it's going to desensitize you, you know, where you're just like, whatever. And it's either or, it's not healthy, you know. So on this particular day, the deuces go off in education. I'm in the block, you know, but, you know, when the deuces go off, you see the CO and you know, run out the door, run to the fence. You hear the keys jangling, you know, all these noise, the footsteps, the keys. Like I said, I know I haven't done anything. I'm sitting here watching TV or in my room, knowing that I haven't disrespected nobody, knowing I don't have any issues with anybody or expecting any type of issue. But when you hear the footsteps running, you hear the keys jangling, you know, those sounds, I've been conditioned to associate those sounds with negativity, with danger. So when I hear the foot running and the keys jingling, my body just automatically shoots a burst of adrenaline going through my body. You know, like, you know, when you sit down on a chair and somebody pulls the chair from under you, that feeling that that you're about to, you know, smack your ass on the floor. That's the feeling that goes shoot through your body when you associate certain sounds with, danger or negativity. And there's no, I'm just speaking from personal experience. I haven't learned or know how to not have my body do that. It's just a natural reaction that happens when those situation comes up. And it happens because it's your body's natural defensive mechanism. Your body's shooting that burst of adrenaline to you, letting you know, warning, 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 danger, danger. Even though it might not personally have anything to do with you, but it's letting you know, hey, pick your head up from whatever you're doing, get in your defensive posture, and wait and observe. So when the deuces go off, they're running up to wreck. And everybody goes to the window to look to try to see what race is involved. Everybody, I don't care what color you are. You're going to the window to look, because if they're pulling out a white dude and then they're pulling out a black dude, then you know it's something to do with a racial tension, and you better turn around and spot yourself a victim, because I guarantee you the other people is looking for a victim. So we all get accustomed to running to the window trying to find out who's involved. So that way we ourselves can prepare ourselves if we got something going on. But they pull out two Mexicans, They take them to the shoe, whatever. We're in the unit. We don't know what's going on. So when they finally get the situation secure and people come back from the wreck and come back into the unit, that's when we get the story. Well, it turned out that the pistolero dude that came on the line, he pretended like everything was cool. Like, he's good, that he's gonna honor the truce, the treaty that they've got. But this whole time, he was harboring some ill feelings about the past. Because, when I say that these gangs, that these organizations in the penitentiaries has gone to war, that's what I mean. They've gone to war. And in war, there's injuries and deaths. And through the course of these, and when these two got into it, a lot of people got hurt and some even died. So from the pistolero's perspective, he's like, shit, I'm trying to get me some get back for the shit that happened to my homie. And fuck the politics. So the dude that he was selling with, that for the 2-3 months he was there, they was getting high together. They was kicking it. I mean, the pistolero dude played it smooth. Like, they became buddies. Like, the Texas MA dude that was selling with him, like, he thought that they were really friends. Like, they lived in EA. And from all account, from the people that was sharing the stories after the fact, they're like, man, them two was always together. They was kicking it. They were get high buddies. Like, when you saw them, you really thought it was a genuine friendship. But the whole time, the pistolero dude was plotting and waiting for his time. So on this day, they both ended up in education. And I don't know why he didn't just do it in a cell, when locked down or whatever. I don't know why he chose to do it in education. But from the people that was in education, he just got up and just started butchering the Texas MA dude. And the deuces came off. They went and secured the situation. They're both locked up. So, but when things like that happen in a penitentiary between two families, two organized gangs, it doesn't stay confined in the penitentiary. When that happened, SIS locked down our prison. There's only one pistolero dude that came on the line, and he ended up stabbing the Texas MA dude. So he's no longer on the yard. The Texas MA no longer have any opposition or rivals on that compound after they locked the dude up. But the reason they locked the compound down because they wanted to keep the Texas MA from having access to lines of communication until they figure it out. Because, all these gangs, I don't care who they are, Crip, Bloods, GDs, Vice Lords, Kings, Mexican gangs, all down the line. When they're part of an organization like this, they have their line of communication in place. These dudes, some of these dudes are still running neighborhoods and cities behind that wall. So they have a pretty good way to communicate and get word to whoever they need to get it to. So SIS locked down the penitentiary because they didn't want these people communicating. But SIS don't know everything. They don't know every line of communication. They try to do their best to keep the prison safe, to keep the gangs separated from chopping each other up. But these guys are gonna do what they're gonna do. And when we came off of lockdown, like I said, I kicked it with my buddy, my homie, and he's like, I said, what's up, man? What's going on? It's like, oh, nah, it's good. I said, what's going on? He's like, nah, everything is good. It's just, they sent word out. Things got dealt with to the point where I don't know the details. The homie didn't share the details with me. But from our little conversation, I got out of it was that word was sent out. What had happened. And the people that got the word retaliated to the point where they were satisfied with it. I spent 26 years in there, and I never felt the need to join any of these respective gangs or organization. But, just saying that statement isn't any credit to saying that I'm so hardcore that I don't need no prison gang or anything like that. For me, I'm in a unique situation being Asian, being Cambodian. So when I went into the penitentiary, I have no doubt that the pressure that if it was a little white kid or a little Mexican dude would be different. Because, the whites, especially when you're young, when you go in there, the skinheads, the neo-Nazi, the white supremacists, and the Klansmen and all them, is gonna push up on you and try to recruit you and try to brainwash you into this white supremacy shit, And if you're a Mexican and you go into a yard where, especially if you go into a California yard where it's Sereños and Paisa, they're gonna make you choose. Like, even if you don't become a Sereño, even if you don't become a Paisa, you're still gonna be on count. You're still gonna be expected to be on the front line when racial shit goes off. And if you buck, if you don't ever want to participate in what they're doing or be part or be or be on count, they're gonna give you a rough time, But that's not to say there's not individuals that's able to resist it and do their time. But I'm just saying, like when I say that I never felt the need to join any prison gang while I was there, I'm not saying that, like I'm some tough dude or anything. I'm just saying just the politics because of my race is different, Because most of the people that push the issue, trying to recruit, trying to get people on count are the Sereños and the white boys, Like the Crips and Bloods and all the other different gangs and stuff, they deal with however they deal with their situation. I'm just trying to explain to you that it's different for people. It's different for different races. It's different from, So, and I don't hold anything, and I don't take anything away from anybody that joined any of these prison gangs while they were there. Because, these dudes that I know that are gang members that are part of these gangs, these are some dangerous individuals, some hardcore dudes. So there's no So there's nothing that I can take away from them or smear them or anything for what they decide to do with their life. My thing is just like, if you do go into the penitentiary and you do decide to commit yourself to an organization for whatever reason you give yourself, understand it's a commitment. You know, it's a lifetime contract. It's a marriage. It's death do us part. And that's the part that a lot of people don't really fully comprehend. And the reason I say that they don't really fully comprehend, because you always hear stories about somebody getting butchered because he tried to leave. Then they tell you couldn't leave, you know? But at the end of the day, man, if you just be a man, conduct yourself with integrity, shake somebody's hand, you uphold it. You give somebody your word, you uphold it. Don't take, don't touch something that's not yours. You see a radio, you might not know who it belongs to, but I guarantee you absolutely, without a doubt, knew it didn't belong to you. So if you touch it, you're doing that at your own risk. And I don't know why people can't learn the lessons that they've seen from other people. There's plenty of people that's been killed over less shit than that. Welcome to the USP.